discuss or talk about like the wage gap between men and women. So
Hmm.
the argument is usually that make 77 cents for every dollar a man makes, right?
Uh-huh.
That's the argument.
Yeah.
But that statistic doesn't take into consideration the difference in careers.
Yeah. That's like
So
that's a big thing.
yeah,
Like,
so it's like yeah, go ahead.
yeah, the one thing that I've heard that really like cements this whole issue for me is that companies are all about money, right? They're all about profit
Hmm.
no matter what. Like above all else, it's about making money and making a profit. And
Right.
if companies really could hire women for the same roles for 25% cheaper than men, then they would only hire women.
Right.
Like they wouldn't hire guys if they cost more
For no reason.
for no reason. Like if it actually was that they could pay women less to do the same exact jobs and for no other difference, then they
Then
would
they
just
would hire
hire
more
women
women. Yeah.
because
It's cheaper.
it's a huge amount. Like it doesn't seem like much maybe if you think about a single person's salary,
Right.
but across the whole company, it's a huge portion, especially tech companies where there's a lot like there's way less women in tech companies. But tech companies are even heavier on the employee cost because all of their products, they're not manufacturing, you know what I mean? Like
Right, right, right.
Apple's not manufacturing the cell phones. They hire someone else to make them. They design everything. So
Uh-huh.
their employee costs are a huge part of their expenses. And if they could cut 25% off that by doing anything, they would be doing it.
Yeah.
So that makes it really difficult for me to believe that there's a wage gap that isn't due to other reasons.
I mean, I can tell from my own experience. When I
Mm-hmm.
was in college in Peru,
Uh-huh.
it was like I was in science. I was trying to study computer science. Bad
Uh-huh.
idea, but like I was there for like 2 years. So I
Uh-huh.
was there, and it was legit. People would be surprised to see a woman walking around campus. Like
Yeah.
it's just not. There were some women, right? That's obvious, right? It wasn't 100% men,
Mm-hmm.
but it was surprising enough, and people would always comment on how there were no pretty ones. They'll
Mm.
be like, "Oh yeah, all the pretty ones are back in letters," which is not numbers, obviously. So
It's
it's like language
probably
and
to
stuff.
do with the fact that just there just aren't any
Yeah,
women.
there aren't enough to have like a
So
sample
you're
size.
yeah, like you're not gonna get like the 1 in 100 gorgeous person
That just
when you
happens to
don't
like.
have 100 people. Like
Yeah, exactly. So it was something like that. So I can tell you right away. It's like if there's more people if women want to go into higher paid careers, they have to start by studying like or getting to those careers, right?
yeah, they got to go into those fields. And I mean it could be that there could be a society thing where they don't feel like welcome or something or I don't know.
But I don't think
It's
that would ever be the case.
it can't
And
be
I mean,
like I don't know. Especially these days, I feel like at least personally, if someone tells me like you can't do something, that just makes me more motivated to show them they're wrong. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah, exactly.
If someone like if I wanted to work with computers and someone was like, "Oh, you can't do that. You're like too short or something." I would be like, "Oh yeah, watch me." Like,
Yeah.
you
Now
know.
I'm gonna do it even
Now I'm
harder.
going to do it even harder. Like
Yeah.
and so I feel like it can't necessarily be that like women are being shut out from the sciences or something. Like no one's discouraging them from going into engineering.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I had one of my friends that was an engineer, and
Uh-huh.
we hang out all the time, but
Hmm.
it was like that was it. I mean, we hang out all the time, and then that's it. She was a woman in science. Nothing special
Mm-hmm.
in that regard. It was definitely less on the numbers. There's not as many women
Mm-hmm.
in in our classes, but
Uh-huh.
the fact that nobody was surprised that she was there.
Yeah.
Everybody just kept doing their own thing and studying and working, and it was fine.
I wonder if it's like actually a trend or if it's just my experience. Like in my experience, I've noticed, and it's tough to tell because there's so few women in the engineering fields that like who knows from my like, 5 data points if I've got something real, but I've noticed that on average it seems like women are less likely to like really sacrifice to put in extra hours. Like,
At a word?
yeah, like it's almost, and I'm not even saying that's necessarily a good idea, because
Right.
a lot of times guys go like too far, where they've sacrificed all their time, their weekends, their evenings, everything for work,
Right.
to like be the family provider or whatever. It seemed like a macho thing
Right.
to
Right.
like toil away at work, but and I'm not even sure it's a good thing, but it definitely helps your career. Like
Yeah.
if you've got two people and one of them is working nights and weekends and one of them is just working normal hours,
Yeah.
like that the person's going to get promoted who's like sleeping in the office,
Right. 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 I
And,
mean, that must be definitely has to do something with the career path that you are on, because
mm,
on my place it's just an office, so like legit 60 to 70% um of the people that work there are women.
huh.
So
Yeah, it
and
must
then
just
I
be
see them, staying over late all the time,
uh
but so do I. So
mm,
it's nothing like, but I would say I've seen people like go above and beyond that are women too. So like they'll
mm.
stay late, and but
Yeah, it's probably just a
but
few
I've
people I've
also
seen.
seen like what you have said. Like we were like me and my other male coworker are just waiting there, getting ready to clock out, and then a new
Hmm.
order comes in, and like by the time we're ready to clock out, like the other lady that was supposed to get that, she's already like out the door, and it's like
Hmm.
5 minutes before we can clock out. So
Mm.
wow.
Yeah, and it probably doesn't help that like even though people are so much more these days, they don't have like the strict gender roles. It's not like the wife cooks the food and the husband, goes to work or something. But even then it still seems like women do more of the work raising the kids. And if you've got kids to take care of, you can't be like at work on Saturdays.
Yeah, exactly.
So that doesn't help, I think.
I mean, yeah, a lot of the people that I work with that are women, like I'll say 90% of them are married with kids.
Yeah. I mean, the solution to that, I think, is not to have more women like spending the nights at the office working double shifts. I think it's for the men to stop doing that. Like,
Yeah.
we should all just be working normal shifts. Like, the answer is not to have everybody kill themselves. It's that nobody should be.